All right, Ketovore family, you can thank Joshua Butler for inspiring me to do another video. This time I'll keep it much shorter than 35 minutes. So let's shoot for 10 minutes, and I'll cut myself off wherever I am, and we'll have to keep going later. So let me get right into it. I'm going to talk about the positive feedback loop that Josh alluded to in his comment on my last video. So what Josh had to say, and here I'll read it directly, because it's probably the easiest way to pull it up. But he says, so you hit on a very important notion behind the psychology of avoiding the admittance and acceptance of failure by preloading your goals with loopholes and excuses for why your lack of success isn't your fault. Essentially, simultaneously planning to fail and planning to avoid accountability for why you failed, all in the same breath. I couldn't agree more. Right? And let's talk about why that is. Right? This is a positive feedback loop. And positive feedback loop doesn't necessarily mean that it's positive. Right? It can be, and we'll talk about why. So, no matter where you are in your journey, at some point, there are results that you have gotten along the way that you're presently living with, right? That is the truest statement that I could write. Thanks, Captain Obvious type of statement. But wherever you are in your journey, you have gotten results that have landed you presently where you are. Or you can look back on and say, that led me here. Why? Why are you where you are? Now, you can look backward. Right? There are two ways to look at this. You can look backward and point the finger and blame somebody, whether that's yourself or somebody else. You can place blame. Blame looks backwards and blame isn't going to serve you. Let me put it that way. I won't go down a rabbit trail because I'm trying to keep this short. But you can look back and blame somebody or something, some circumstance, some condition that you live with, or you can be present in the moment and take responsibility. Those are your options. Place blame or responsibility. Place blame or take responsibility, ultimately is what it boils down to. So, placing blame, whether it be yourself or on somebody else or some other condition or what have you, is going to disempower you. Whereas taking personal responsibility is going to empower you. Because the instant you realize you are where you are because of your own choices, beliefs, actions, all of it, then you can take personal power in the fact that if you created it, then you have the power to create something else. And that's what OPE is about, right? Laying down ideals, setting down an ideal. And it's like in Pinocchio, the wishing upon a star, right? The whole idea of setting down an ideal to move toward. That's a whole nother rabbit trail. Remind me to do a video on that. What you do in the moment when you look back is create a story. So you get a result and you create a story. Whatever that story is for you. This is why I failed. It's my parents didn't raise me right. My parents fed me junk food. At some point you got to take responsibility as an adult for continuing a habit that maybe your parents started. At some point you've got to take responsibility if you want to change it. If you like being in a pity party, if you like feeling sorry for yourself or playing a victim, then you'll continue to blame others. Or even yourself, like I said before. But blame is not going to serve you. Taking responsibility, that's where you step out of the pity party. That's where you step up and say, okay, here's my story now. Here's my new story. Whether or not it's true doesn't matter. What matters is, does it serve you? So if your story becomes, you know what, I did this and I can change it. Now you've got a new belief, and that's the next step, right? So beliefs, and let's start there. So you have a belief, right? And so your belief is up here. Your belief is going to lead to a thought. Now, your thoughts are going to drive your actions. Your actions are going to yield results. Those results will drive the story that you create about the results. Those stories lead to stronger beliefs, thoughts, actions, results, stories. So this is about managing your story, right? We all have one. Here's the beautiful part. You get to take control of it today if you decide that's what you want to do. So the positive feedback loop is that 5-point system I just talked through. Your beliefs lead to your thoughts. Your thoughts lead to your actions. Your actions yield results. Your results drive your story, which reinforce your beliefs. Now, how do you get off a positive feedback loop, a spiral downward? When you look at your results and you take responsibility, you change your story, you change the direction that you're spiraling. When you change your story and you say, you know what, I'm not a victim here. I have a choice to do something different. And my story is going to become a success story. I'm going to become a victor, not a victim. That story is going to change your belief. And that first belief is, I can make this change. I must make this change. Because if you've done your OPA, you know what you want, you know why you want it, and so it must become a must for you. Not a preference, not a, well, I wish, or I should. It's a must. Non-negotiable. When you make a decision in the Latin means to cut off from, or incision, to cut off from, right? To decide is to cut off everything that's not about what I'm moving toward. If it doesn't serve me, I get rid of it. If it doesn't empower me, I get rid of it. Whether or not, if you have a belief that is not empowering you, it is disempowering you, crush it, kill it, get rid of it. A belief is like a tabletop with legs. And the more you create stories underneath that tabletop, that's more and more legs. So you have reference points that you hold your belief up with. Crush them all. Get rid of them. Create new ones. Put a new table, literally draw a table on a piece of paper and draw what the new belief is going to be. And then as the legs underneath, right, draw legs underneath. And then all the reasons why. You now believe you're strong enough. You can do this. You must do this. Draw a literal tabletop with legs. The new belief that's going to serve you, and all the reasons why, all the reference points. And your reference point doesn't even have to be something you've experienced. You could take my post from earlier and say, if he could do it, then I know it's possible. Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. Before him, nobody ever did it. Now, high school students do it. Once you know it's possible, you can achieve anything. So, when it comes to the feedback loop, change your story. Create positive beliefs, beliefs that will serve you. Because those beliefs, and again, just like I talked about in the last video, Robin Sharma's work, it's going to be hard in the beginning. It is hard to focus on positive beliefs when you're used to focusing on negative beliefs. It's hard to be empowering in your mind when you're used to focusing on disempowering thoughts. But allow those beliefs to drive positive thoughts. And when you catch yourself being negative, having a negative frame of mind, that's a positive thing. Because look, I just caught myself, whereas before I was unconscious. Before I was hypnotized going through life, and I had no idea how negative I was being. I didn't know how to get off the train. Now you can catch yourself and say, here's a question for you, if I could come up with a better thought right now, an empowering thought right now, what might that thought be? Allow that thought to drive your next action. You take a different action when the thought that is positive versus the thought's negative. Now your actions are going to yield you different results. and you can reinforce a positive story. And it's small incremental improvements, right? You need to make small incremental improvements over time. If I have a ladder in front of me, leaning up against a mountain, a wall, whatever you want, but those rungs are 10 feet apart. Big jumps, right? I get up there, I grab the rung, I pull myself up, I climb up, and I jump 10 feet to the next one. I can't jump 10 feet, but if I could, that'll make it harder, right? I might have to climb up the side of it. That's difficult. I might have to climb up the side of the ladder to get to the 10th one, pull myself up. Am I going to move faster up that ladder or up the ladder that has rungs every 8 to 10 inches where I can just climb? Small incremental improvements. You don't need to make massive leaps and bounds in improvement. You need to make small, constant improvement. Small. So don't measure yourself against the end goal. Measure yourself against who you were yesterday. Or, for Pete's sake, 5 minutes ago. And just get a little bit better. Be a little bit better. You don't have to become positive. You need to recognize negative and move in the right direction. Small incremental improvements. So that's the positive feedback loop. Again, it goes beliefs drive thought drives action, actions yield results, results drive the story reinforce beliefs. I hope that's helpful. Kept it under 12 minutes. Have a great one, guys.